It's time for another voyage on the Love Boat. To escape reality and hit the open seas, to serenity and wholesome wonder.
Look at that thing. Everybody else out there having a good time, laughing and throwing confetti. What'd you do with my camera? I had to throw something.
Watching the Love Boat meant witnessing a love letter to the 70s, with quite a few incredible secrets hidden between the planks. For how escapist this show was, just how real was everything that went on? And what was the fate of the vessel we all came to adore? Surely it was taken care of like the princess it was. Yikes, we'll get to that. I'm your host, Captain Nick of the SS Do You Remember, reminding passengers to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe so you can join us on our next journey to the good old days. But without further ado, let's set sail.
Trust me, okay? Now enough small talk. Let's meet some men.
Old books tell all tales. The Love Boat followed a simple formula for each episode, despite some of its cast rotations. But one thing was consistent. It was all grounded in reality. In fact, The Love Boat is directly inspired by a book called Love Boats, penned by Geraldine Saunders. Not only was Saunders the first female cruise director for Princess Cruises, but she shared her experiences in a tell-all book about her long career afloat, the colorful passengers she met, unique co-workers she had, and all the wonderful places she went. Sound familiar?
And now we're going to do a Love Boat the musical in Las Vegas.
From 2003 until her death in 2019, Saunders took up astrology and horoscope writing for Omar's Astrological Forecast, the nationally syndicated horoscope column that enjoyed readership around the world. The Love Boat, the movie. This book-to-screen adaptation looked very different when it first started. Before Aaron Spelling joined the crew, producer Douglas S. Kramer put together The Love Boat as a series of movie pilots. But if you've never seen them, you may not even recognize it, as the core cast was vastly different.
Maybe we'll grow on each other, like barnacles.
First, Ted Hamilton was Captain Ford. Then Quinn Rediker took the helm as Captain Madison for the second film, which featured Ken Berry as the lead, before we finally saw Gavin MacLeod as Captain Merrill Steubing. Dick Van Patten was the first medic known as O'Neill, and Theodore Wilson manned the bar before Ted Lang started mixing drinks. A regular diva, or princess. Actors need a stunt double, especially if they're pulling off impressive feats on the waves. So why should the Pacific Princess be any different? Two boats filled the role of the titular Love Boat, Pacific Princess and Island Princess. Pacific is what you see most at the time, but Island was used as a backup of sorts, though they had to be careful with this. Each boat's pools were different. Island Princess had a rectangular pool, while Pacific had those groovy clusters of 3-round pools connected. A pretty big feature right at the back of the ship. The difference is hard to miss. Love thy tune. The Love Boat spared no expense, giving everyone a luxurious time. So when it came to putting together music for the series, they turned to Paul Williams, who had written for the best, like David Bowie, the Carpenters, and the Muppets.
Us little guys gotta stick together.
Oh yeah, listen.
And Paul worked with Charles Fox, who was the brain behind ABC's first Monday Night Football jingle, and The Wide World of Sports. As for the performance, that was two-time Grammy winner Jack Jones, at least for the first 8 seasons. Season 9 was none other than Dionne Warwick, one of the most charted female artists of all time. No fewer than 56 of her singles have made it into the Hot 100 lists. Definitely someone you want singing on your luxury cruise line. The theme was overhauled for Love Boat Next Wave. But that wasn't the end for the original. Since 2019, Princess Cruises have used the theme song for its pre-embarkment safety drills. And when new Princess ships leave port, they play the first bit of the theme over their horns. Not just a bartender. Isaac, the bartender, and let's face it, the heart and soul of the Love Boat, was often shown greeting passengers as they got on. But producers later learned that only formally ranked maritime officers can do that. Isaac, for all his superhuman wit and charm, was technically a civilian. So they brewed up a nice backstory for him, where Isaac saved a bunch of passengers during an emergency, earning him an honorary rank in reward for his services. I'll pour one out to that.
No, a little more enthusiasm, come on. That's right.
Cruisin' crossovers. When you become as iconic as the Love Boat, you're going to appear in other media or get approached by other series for a crossover episode. And this show was a prime setup for both. There's The Match Made in Heaven, the Love Boat goes to Fantasy Island. But there's also the pretty surprising crossover that came in Love Boat Next Wave, specifically Trance of a Lifetime, where they see Alf. He's a long way from Melmac, and other shows paid tribute too. A 1997 episode of Martin had the main characters meeting Isaac, Julie, Vicky, and Doc.
Hey, I thought she was room service, man, I'm telling you.
I'm sorry, sir. Butt Naked Lady is not on the menu.
Then the Angels would assemble for Charlie's Angels to solve a case right on board the Pacific Princess. Crossovers come to fruition when both shows are created by Aaron Spelling. And in that episode where Robert Reed and Florence Henderson walk by each other and share a long look, of course that's a fun nod to their lovely Brady Bunch life. Pays for itself. Just how SNL was the start for some legendary comedians, The Love Boat was a pretty popular springboard for actors. And thanks to its popularity, people paid an arm and a leg to even appear in the background. Some of those extras were fans who paid thousands of dollars to be passengers while the show filmed. A 1983 article from People says that a Hong Kong shoot had tourists paying between $3 and nearly $9 grand to be on that cruise. That helped pay for the guest stars, which of course the Love Boat had plenty of. Some of those special guests earned $1,000 a day, or much more. If you were Lana Turner, the series' 1000th guest in the 200th episode, congrats, you made $25 grand. And even Tundra the Wonder Dog was paid $1,000 for her appearance in the episode The Dog Show. Mutiny. Talk about trouble in paradise. The Love Boat's big trip to China, Hong Kong, and Japan was costly right off the bat, or boat, with a price tag of $12 million. And it took months to plan, but history was unfolding around them. In 1982, Chinese tennis player Hu Na defected from China to America. The incident sparked serious tensions between the two countries, and show producer Doug Kramer worried they'd deal with the fallout. Shockingly, that ended up not being the biggest issue for the crew. Instead, Kramer faced what he called a miniature World War III right on the boat, after guest star Susan Anton scored a huge cabin on the coveted Sky deck. Well, Gavin MacLeod then demanded his own suite, and guest star Erin Moran shed tears until she secured a better room for herself too. Look, I get it, you don't want those crammy inside cabins. Laughter is contagious. The Love Boat was kind of Love American Style in the ocean. At least that's how people viewed the series, comparing both shows' formulas. But that's not the only similarity they share. In fact, The Love Boat, Love American Style, 8 is Enough, and the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour all have one thing in common. They're all hour-long series that did use a laugh track.
Great answer. You must be a college grad.
Only difference is Love Boat used a more subdued laugh track for its more romantic setting, instead of those big over-the-top reactions. Shipwrecked. The Love Boat sailed strong for over a decade, but she did begin to stutter. Ratings dropped and the captain pulled her back to port. But even though Hollywood was done with it, the ship stayed operating as a luxury liner. If only that was the graceful end the ship deserved. Instead, the Pacific Princess was repurposed for a whole new sinister intent. Drug smugglers used the ship to move narcotics around the Mediterranean. In 1998, 50 pounds of heroin was discovered on board. 600 passengers ended up stranded in Greece when the ship was seized. I mean, there are worse places to be stranded, but the gruesome end to this once delightful saga doesn't even end there. The Pacific Princess fell into disrepair and faced neglect, changing owners constantly, and finally it became impossible to repair. The final owner schooners sent it off to a scrapyard in Turkey for $3 million. And even dismantling the ship hit some snags, as 2 men died from carbon monoxide poisoning during the breakdown. Not exactly a happy ending for the Pacific Princess. So let's discuss this timeless series. Did any of these fun facts surprise you? Who religiously watched The Love Boat? Which famed guest star was your favorite passenger? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because we read them all. And if you enjoyed our voyage, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a memory.
Hasta la vista.
From all of us here at Do You Remember, thanks very much for watching.